Thank you, Mike.
Well, good afternoon. It is Friday, the 2nd of February, Groundhog Day. And I guess the groundhog did did or did not see a shadow. I don't know which, but supposedly it's going to be an early spring. So let's hats off to Pucks 20 Phil. I'm Bill Roller. I am here with Michael Elrath of Beacon Rock Wealth Advisors and the incomparable, amazing Michael Harding of Keller Williams, talking about finance and real estate. We're a little bit early today. We're not quite to the market close, but it's been an interesting week. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was up so far, 10 minutes before the close, 1.56%. NASDAQ Composite up 1.82%. S&P 500 up 1.54%. The Philadelphia Semiconductor Index is flat for the week. And kind of surprisingly, the 30-year Treasury is off 16.3 basis points to 4.227, and the 10-year is off 12 basis points to 4.033. And big news this week was, of course, Jerome Powell, the Fed, and the his press conference on Wednesday, where he temporarily, at least, tubed the market when he said it's going to be higher for longer, and we're waiting on you know, got more work to do on a soft landing. So maybe the rates are doing the work for him. I'm not sure. But Mike, what do you think about this wonderful stuff?
Talking to me, aren't you? Well, prices haven't moderated, and jobs are uh, the job growth is way up. A lot of people are working more than one job. That's part of what's happened, and the reason they're doing that is um, prices are higher. It's harder to take care of a budget. There was a report earlier this week that um, utility prices in one district were up. I believe it was in the teens, high teens, 16% or more. So, if you look at, I guess for utility prices vary, it depends on the size of your family, size of your house. If you had a $4,000 annual utility bill, nearly 20% of that would be $800. Um, so that's substantial. Um, and then if utility prices are up that much, what's it going to cost to go to a restaurant to have somebody prepare a meal for you? What's it going to cost to go to other places for services where people do things for you? Prepare your tax return, get the hardware for your home improvements or repairs. Go to your automotive shop for repairs. Go to any office, and even the government offices. There's a lot of government offices. All those utility costs that go up are going to come back to who's going to pay for it. So that's a big deal. Um, but surprisingly, in the market, um, there was some real winners today. Um, Meta Meta was up
Yeah.
80 points or 20%. They declared a 50-cent per share dividend, and that's substantial. So a lot of excitement around that. That was the big news of the day. Um, Amazon was up almost 8%. Ford Motor was up a little bit. I thought it was more at first, but it's just up a 0.5%. There's a lot of news in the commercial lending marketplace. There's more lenders are feeling the crunch from delinquent loan payments on commercial properties. The big one in the news is one of the New York banks.
Yeah, New York Community Bank Corp.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
down 42% on the week,
yeah, hammered. So,
but
of
your
course,
deposits might be safe.
we've been hearing about commercial lending troubles for at least 6 months. But when something like that comes back around again, it affects the psyche of investors. Those who should have maybe paid attention to it and reacted to it sooner. But there's a lot of people out there investing for different reasons, and they don't all spot something. In fact, most investors are a little bit late to the show. By the time things, and Bill's talked about this before, by the time things become common news, newspapers, television, it's the horse has been out of the barn for a while, and the news that was already available just wasn't widespread. So, now back to Meta, I don't know who or how anybody would have seen that they were going to pay a dividend other than they had a lot of cash. But having a lot of cash doesn't mean that a company is going to pay a dividend. Oftentimes they keep the money so that they can invest in something else that they think will help their growth.
Well, there are two factors going on with Meta. Like, one is layoffs. They basically laid off about 20% of their workforce.
That's right.
And then the other side is they've backed off from the metaverse, the VR push that was soaking up a lot of cash, but not generating a lot of cash. So the combination of it, they kind of went back to their true social media and advertising as opposed to trying to build out the next, three-dimensional internet. So
yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's what companies are supposed to do for their stockholders is do things responsibly and make a profit, and then pay stockholders for the giving them the opportunity to grow as a company. Without all those stockholders, they wouldn't have the capital to do the things that they were trying to do to grow. So, you got to be loyal to your investors.
well, yeah, and they're also arguable to return on investment. That their ROI on some of their initiatives was fairly low, but they're making money off AI, artificial intelligence, more than they were making money off of VR. So VR is the technology that's been waiting for years and years. Someday it may arrive here. The big news on that side was, of course, the introduction of Apple's VR offering. Been pretty well regarded, but $3,500 for a face hugging computer. So we'll see how that works out.
Yeah, and can you believe that um, the hope for this technology goes back at least 40 years?
Oh, more than that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, that it
back to
was
the
coming.
60s.
Yeah, well, I mean, um, for what we call realization of it, maybe not have been that long ago. The thought was there, and um, the comics and the movies and were using the thought in their productions, but the real thing um, was still kind of futuristic back then, like a lot of things are. Um, but I remember it was probably 40 years ago, getting my hair cut, and my barber telling me that this was that this was going to be a thing,
Just around
And,
the corner. That's right.
yeah, yeah. I know it was 40. I know it was 40 years ago because I haven't seen him in 40 years.
There you go.
So
Well,
I'm gonna go see him
well,
again. I like the guy. Huh?
yeah. Well, all I can say is watch reruns. Watch the movie Lawnmower Man, and
Yeah,
you can see the dark side of VR, at least according to Pierce Brosnan.
yeah.
Good
We'll
for a
have to
laugh.
take
I'd
you up
rather
on
watch
that.
the Jetsons.
That's right. That's right.
Oh
Okay.
yeah,
So, Michael Harding, what's happening in the world of real estate? You want to see what's going up on the share here?
Yes, please.
We'll give
Well,
you
no matter how bad the New York Community Bank has it, they don't have it as bad as that one. What is it, Everglade or
uh
that one in China?
yeah, Evergrande.
Yeah, yeah, Evergrande. Boy, they are swimming upstream without a paddle or a boat or anything else. So yeah, they're having a bad day. But anyways, um, there was a there was an uptick in the from the previous week on the new to market, and I think that was because of the improvement in the weather. Um, as you remember or may remember, we had that ice storm and snow. And it wasn't really snow; it's more ice, and everything was pretty much locked down, and everybody stayed in their home for quite a while. So I think that this is a reflection of you know things improving. So hopefully that's a sign. Um, really, there's nothing really too remarkable other than that. But we had a lot of things go into contract. That's what the pending indicates.
Mhm.
The solds last week were a little disappointing, but again with the weather. But the hardest part is getting an agreement and then you know getting to the finish line. So um, yeah, everything is looking encouraging. If you do note that the average list price was nearly 200 or 610,000, I wonder if that's a new norm because that's quite a bit for little old Clark County here in Southwest Washington. So we've had 2 consecutive weeks, and what is that? 5 weeks so far that's on the screen, in which the 2 or 3 of 5 weeks that the price has been north of the average list price has been north of 600,000. So um, I wonder if that's the new norm or an anomaly of some sort. Me myself, I prefer to see it with the interest rates being so high. I prefer to see it closer to 550 range.
Could be a
But you know,
development of could be a development of McMansions just went on the market. Hard to say.
right. Well, and I did make a note of that in the comments because there were 16 properties that sold last week that
Okay.
were north of 800,000. And
Wow.
I was wondering if it's McMansions being built. And so I looked for the year built, and only one of them was built 2023 or 2024. There was another one that was built in 2020. So the rest of them were already pre-established homes, not anything that was built recently. So that was what's leading me to believe that this may be the new norm with prices being so high. I'm not one that likes the price that high because I think home ownership should be a little bit more affordable for the commoner instead of people that can afford those 800,000 and above homes, especially with the interest rates being, for a while they were north of 7 and they're around 6.5 right now, something to that effect. And so that's quite a bit of a budget for a family to partake in to qualify for a home. So, but we touched on it earlier. I think the thing that we're gonna have to keep an eye on is the job market because Amazon, what was it? Amazon, Apple,
Yeah.
no, Amazon, Google, and Facebook or Meta laid off a considerable number of employees. And I heard an expert or somebody who they said is an expert saying that every month or every year, I don't remember, there's a million jobs lost due to job reductions and things, mass layoffs. But it only makes headlines when it's Google, Amazon,
Mhm.
Facebook. That's the only time it makes the news. And so there's really nothing to panic over, but it's something to definitely keep an eye on. I'm paraphrasing what the expert was saying, because if the economy is impacting Google, Amazon, and Facebook, then imagine what it's doing to the smaller uh, employers without massive coffers of funding in the bank.
Yeah, very interesting. I'll keep a
And
have to keep an eye on.
I have a 27-year-old son who was recently laid off,
Oh, really?
and yeah,
Where was he working?
um, he was doing construction. He's a horizontal driller, and so he was laid off because things are slowing down, and it's not seasonal because he's been doing that market for 3 or 4 years, and so um, they said things are slowing down, and so he was let go, and so he's having the Warren Buffett definition of a recession. A recession is when your neighbor loses a job. A depression is when you lose the job. Well, so for me personally, he's undergoing the Warren Buffett definition of a recession. So he's applied several places, and there seems to be a virtual hiring freeze
Yeah,
all over the place. So that's something that we should keep an eye on the job market, the commercial market, because if lenders or borrowers rather are having a hard time paying back their debt, then how are they going to be able to pay their employees?
yeah. Oh, very interesting. We'll have to watch that. Hard landings are hard to pull off.
Yeah,
Or I should say, soft landings are difficult to pull off. Hard landings are easy. Soft landings are extremely difficult for the Fed.
right.
So,
Yeah,
despite all the pats on the back for Jerome Powell, he's jury's still out on whether this actually works out.
yeah. Well, hopefully things will correct itself and we have a turnaround because um currently it's not looking too good. I mean, it's not that bad. It's a lot better than what it was. What was it, 3 or 4 months ago, maybe 6 months ago? Things were
Yeah,
looking rather bleak, and everyone was predicting the sky is falling, and even Stuart Little was saying the sky is falling. So things have gotten a little bit better because the Fed, he said although the interest rates are going to remain higher than anticipated, they're not going up. So things are improving, but just not as quickly as the masses would hope it would.
yeah. Well, good. Anything else you gentlemen would like to add? If not, we'll
I think
get to
that's
next
it
week.
for me.
I'm clear.
Okay, we'll stop recording.